basically in BA BOK 1.0, they started with BA BOK 1.0, which came about, I think, a good 20 years ago. There was no mention of Agile at that point of time. Obviously, it's more traditional, and they used to emphasize more on the writing of FRS and the BRDs and all that, which is not the case now, because organizations have moved, businesses have adopted Agile as the way to work. So with 2.0 and 3.0, version 3.0 now, the BA BOK actually kind of addressed this, and in fact, I'll share that with you. There's something called as Agile competency of a business analyst or something. They came up with a separate paper, which is about 40 pages. So that talks about what kind of Agile skills are required for the BA professional nowadays, which is totally different from what they proposed about 20 years ago. And that's why, I mean, all these things are the way to implement, right? So when you talk about BA, that's what I was telling you. There's a core BA and BA kind of thinking, and BA concepts, competencies, professional skills, techniques, and methods that you have. And then when you work with in the context of Agile team, if you work with those people when you get into a job, then you need to kind of mix these two together. And that's why you're not having the FRA, you're not creating those 500-page documents anymore now. You're creating backlogs. Either you as a BA or the product owner would create the backlog, and from there you create the sprint backlog, you work on the user stories, and then you would maintain that. You would actually write the backlog items here, which is the user stories, and then you would work with the team in terms of executing those or developing those stories into functionality or features, and you do the sprint planning with the team, do the estimation, the planning poker, and then you would get into the you would actually have after the end of the sprint or the time box, you do the sprint review where you can showcase that to the stakeholders, and then you have a retrospective where you look at the process. So this is more or less like the what should I say, the working practices of pretty much every team nowadays. If you're working in a team on a product, then this is pretty much the way to go. This is more or less like accepted as the industry standard now, whether it is banking, whether it is shipping or retail or whatever it is. Every industry has adopted this nowadays. If you have a product, they expect you to work in these kind of teams who are agile. So that's why it's important to know, and that's why I was telling you as well, right, that you need to have both these skill sets. So there's an business analysis kind of a thing, which is what we've been talking about. And then there is an agile context of a Scrum Master, Scrum related stuff, the sprints and all those other agile methodologies. You need to have a knowledge which can use the best of these two, because this is a practice. These are ways that you actually kind of apply these principles into your work. These are the practices, whereas business analysis is your role. So you would perform the role, but then you're expected to work as a team member. You're not a business analyst in Scrum. You're still a team member. A developer is a team member, an architect is a team member, right? So all of these people would bring what they do as part of their role onto the table. This is what I think that the photograph on the right actually kind of conveys that. Let's assume this guy is a BA. So we've got a tester, one tester, this lady is, let's say, a developer, this gentleman here is an architect, and this lady is a developer. So we've got two developers and an architect and a tester, and this is a BA. So you still are a team member irrespective of what you're doing, but then as a BA, you're expected to do work on these, on certain aspects, right? Which is, for example, the product backlog, working with the product owner, prioritization, estimation, working with the team to come up with estimates, and then writing up the stories and expanding on the stories, writing acceptance criteria. So those are your role. And that's why I'm saying that as a BA, you don't need to be knowing the technology, because there's somebody else who is responsible. These people are responsible for implementing that solution. Your job is facilitating and supporting them in implementing the solution, whereas they are the experts in that technology, whether it's PHP or Java or .NET or whatever it is, they're going to implement it. But what do they need to develop? what is the prioritized list of items in this sprint? How much should that be coming in terms of sizing and the estimate? And what is considered as a definition of done? And what are the acceptance criteria? When can you say that, yes, this functionality is right, it's done? So those are the things that you as a BA would do, would do, because it's more functional. It's nothing to do with the technical stuff, whether you use PHP or whether you use Java or JavaScript or whatever it is. These are the things that you would specify as a BA. It's functional stuff. It doesn't. So these are the technology agnostic, platform independent stuff. Whereas the design, development, architecture, that is platform specific, that's technology specific, that is dependent on the underlying technologies. Whereas we as BAs, we operate in a space, in the problem space, which is outside that, which is actually not hinging on a specific solution, specific technology, specific platform.